The 109th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race is on this weekend, guys, and ahead of the event, I'm going to pick out 5 drivers from this star-studded field that you should be paying special attention to. It's so hard to narrow this down to just 5, but we love doing things here in 5s on the channel, guys. So let's have a look at the 5 that I'm going to be paying special attention to during this weekend's race. And where are we going to start other than with our pole sitter? A shock pole sitter in Robert Schwartzman. If you haven't watched my qualifying review, do go check that out. That went out at the start of this week on the channel. But Prema in their debut at the Indy 500, Schwartzman making his debut on an oval, but they managed to get pole position. Unbelievable stuff. Honestly, if Schwartzman even manages a top 5 from there, he's done an absolutely stellar job this week. But of course, he'll be wanting to take the grand prize. Why not? A rookie has not sat on pole in over 40 years. When was the last time that a rookie managed to win the Indy 500? I'm willing to bet it's been a very long time since that's happened, if it's ever happened, in fact, over the years. I mean, Nigel Mansell came close in the 90s, but he didn't quite manage it, so I'm struggling to think who was the actual guy who did that last, to be fair. So answers in the comments, please, for that one, guys. But yeah, Schwartzman, best of luck. It's going to be very difficult, but he's starting from the best possible position, and what a debut it's been for Prema at the Indy 500, of course. A new team for this season, but my goodness me, have they made a mark on the sport's history already. But very much not his first appearance at the Indy 500 is Takuma Sato. Now, he did a fantastic job during qualifying to get on the front row, get second place overall. He's very much someone who's going to be a danger tomorrow. He could join an elite group of drivers to win 3 times around the Indy 500. He's almost 50 years of age. The man had a horrible crash in practice as well earlier this month. So the fact that he's got up, picked himself up from that, dusted himself off, Taku is going to be one of the favourites in my opinion. Of course, Schwartzman has the best possible starting position, but Sato being up there with his experience, I would not rule out him leading the first lap at all. Alex Palou, though, he's a guy who's going to do very well to lead the first lap, but he's not someone who's out of contention either. He's been having a GOAT season, one of the greatest of all time seasons ever in the history of the IndyCar, and of course the American Open Wheel Championship. I think you have to go back to the days of AJ Foyt to find someone who has been that dominant at the start of the season. But of course, the elephant in the room, the oval-shaped elephant, you should really say with this one, is the fact that he's never won around an oval. He's never managed to win around an oval, but he's never had to. He's a 3-time champion in IndyCar despite never managing to win an oval. But he's starting from a fairly good P6. He's on the second row of the grid, got through to the fast 6 during qualifying, so he's looking quick. Not quite on winning pace, of course, but he's up there for sure, and he's someone who I think is probably going to get a top 5. A top 5 is a fantastic result for him. It really does limit the damage that any of his championship contenders can do at that point. And the likes of Schwartzman and Sato, they're miles off. They're never going to challenge Palou for the championship realistically. So let's see how he gets on. I'm optimistic. I think he'll get a good result, but I think a win is probably a bit too much to ask around Indy. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, of course, chooses who wins the race. You don't decide that. The track does, of course, famously. Those famous bends around the Brickyard. But let's talk about Joseph Newgarden, another 2-time winner, winning the previous 2 Indy 500s on the bounce. But he's going to have a very, very tough drive on Sunday to be able to do it. He will, of course, start pretty much at the back, dead last alongside Will Power, because both of them were thrown out of qualifying for technical infringements. Of course, their pace was good enough to make the fast 12, but unfortunately for them, like I said, the technical infringement disqualified them from that. They do make the grid. They will take part in this race, but they will start from the very back. But of course, that doesn't mean anything, you know. When you're going to win the Indy 500 again, the track chooses you to do so, and if they are destined to win, if Newgarden is to win the race for the 3rd time in a row, has anybody ever managed that before? 3 Indy 500 wins on the bounce? Again, probably been a very long time since that happened. I'm pretty sure it hasn't happened. I did go through the most wins at the Indy 500 in history, and I'm pretty sure none of those dudes have managed 3 in a row, so Newgarden could very much make history by being able to do that, but he's going to have a lot of work to do on Sunday afternoon in Indiana. And the last driver I'm looking out for, not least because he's going to be taking part in this race, but also be taking part in the Coke 600. It's, of course, our double duty hopeful. It is Kyle Larson, a regular in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's attempting double duty again this week, and he tried it last year, but the rain interrupted him both at Indiana and also in Charlotte down at North Carolina for the Coke 600 later on in the day. I'll be bringing out a preview for the Coke 600. Larson will be previewed in that as well, because, of course, the fact he's doing 1,100 miles of racing in less than 24 hours is something absolutely mesmeric. I hope he does well, and let's see if he can become the first driver since Tony Stewart Smoke back in 2001 to successfully do the Indy 500 and, of course, the Charlotte Motor Speedway Coke 600 and finish on the lead lap. He's the only guy to ever do that, Tony Stewart. Kyle Larson is without a doubt talented enough to do that, but we'll see how he gets on. He'll need some good luck from the weather, of course. But yeah, those are the 5 drivers I'm looking forward to seeing the most this weekend around the Indy 500. Who is your pick for the winner, guys? I'm not going to say. I'd love to see Sato do it personally. I think that'd be an incredible story. Him and Newgarden, that'd be unbelievable if they managed to do it. But we will see what happens. Same with Schwartzman as well, for that matter, of course, too. We'll see what happens, of course, with this weekend's running, and we'll bring you here all the reviews and action from this over the weekend. Have a great Memorial Bank Holiday weekend if you are celebrating in the States, and if you're watching this race, let's hope for an entertaining one around the IMS. Have a great time, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you very soon for much more content on the wonderful wide world of motorsport here on the channel.